What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz Angle. It's championship weekend. Brady's Patriots are playing for a lot on the line, a little bit of a rematch of an AFC championship we got when we were growing up, Broncos versus Patriots. A little bit different at the quarterback situation nowadays. And then on the NFC side of things, this is the matchup I think everybody was expecting at some point this postseason between the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams, the deciding factor of the three-game series. We're going to start with that AFC battle, the first one of this matchup. Really weird not to see the Chiefs in this game for the first time in quite some time. But Brady, can this new era Patriots team, who is once again going to be favored in this one, can they take care of the job and move on to the Super Bowl?
Well, even though we don't have the Chiefs, it's been the Chiefs and or the Patriots every year since
Yep.
2011. This is the Chiefs Patriots Invitational. It's been a little bit of a hiatus for the Patriots over the last 7 years, but they are back with Drake May, Josh McDaniels, and the way that the defense has been playing with Zach Core, who got called into duty as the DC with Terrell Williams dealing with cancer throughout the entire season. And it's kind of even that is a little bit of a microcosm to this team and the way that they've rallied and the resiliency that they've shown. Because let's be honest, like, especially even throwing out our preseason expectations out the window, like, none of us thought that this roster, I think, was talented enough to get to this point. I mean, there was even once the Patriots got to sitting at like 7-2 or whatever they were, I was like, it'd be nice to go and win a playoff game. Like that we're not as experienced as some of these other teams, but it'd be nice to, win 11, 12 games, make it to the divisional round, and then that's a successful year. But the stakes have risen, the things have changed, and this team, like, very clearly looks like they've been the most dominant, even though them and the Broncos have the same record. The way that these two teams were getting it done throughout the back half of the regular season, especially, it was just night and day. I mean, the Broncos, they're a team that plays it close and then finishes in the end. Bo Nix, we can have all our thoughts about him, but he is a clutch player and he made a lot of late game plays. Meanwhile, the Patriots, who played the light schedule, were blowing teams out and they were crushing teams and they were hitting in all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. So I feel like it's fair to say that New England has been the most consistent and also most dominant team in the AFC, especially between these two that remain. Obviously, there's no Bo Nix, and I gotta say, like, the Jarrett Stidham thing's starting to piss me off. Like, people are gassing this up too much, and I get it. Like, people in the I'm not talking about Broncos fans. You guys all have a right to rally behind your guy and, like, hope for the best, right? And I'm not even saying he's a scrub, but you got the media that's like trying to convince everybody that the Broncos have had this MVP level talent behind Bo Nix. He's been the best kept secret in the NFL for 6 years, and he was the first guy Sean Payton signed. Who gives a shit, honestly? Like, that narrative is getting on my nerves because it feels like all 3 weeks, and maybe I'm just a little bit in my echo chamber here, but you saw a lot of the Chargers are going to upset the Patriots. I know you guys might not have gone with that, but trust me, there's a lot of it. Shout out Adam Shine on Sirius XM, by the way, if you listen to him. And then there was the Texans defense is the 2000 Ravens. They're going to beat this team. And it's always been about the opponent. And I feel like a lot of people heading into the Patriots matchups have not really talked enough about how good this team is. And even people want to point to things that don't even matter right now. Oh, the Patriots are 0-4 in Denver in the playoffs. There's not a single player from any of those rosters that's on either of these teams. And I get it. Mile High's a tough place to play. But even they're like, well, this defense is dominant for the Broncos. It really isn't. I actually have an interesting stat for you guys. I saw Aaron Schatz from FTN Fantasy posted. It would surprise a lot of people. Since week 10, the Patriots have actually been better defensively in DVOA, total run game and pass game than the Broncos have. And the Broncos, in their last three home games against starters, people talk about Mile High and how tough it's going to be for Drake May, which it might be. They've given up 26 points to Jordan Love. They've given up 34 points to Trevor Lawrence. And then they gave up 30 points to Josh Allen in a game where they forced 5 turnovers. They haven't been this dominant unit. And a lot of it comes down to the linebackers and the safeties have struggled. And as we know, the Patriots' intermediate passing game, that's where they feast. So I think that this game comes down to a few different matchups. I think the biggest one that's in favor of Denver is Will Campbell against Nick Bonito. I expect Josh McDaniels to give Will Campbell as much help as possible. And like I said last week, maybe incorporate some bootlegs, some rollouts, take a page out of Sean Payton's book. And I do think that Sean Payton, speaking of him, is going to try to make things easy for Jarrett Stidham. I'll tell you guys, I watched the tape today on Stidham. Every career drop back that he's taken. With the Patriots a long time ago, the tape wasn't good. But then you look at the Raiders tape. and that's also not good. But then you look at the
No, he had
Broncos
a good
tape,
game.
and that's also not good. So I don't think Jarrett Stidham is all that. And that Niners game, I know you're referencing Dan. He had a couple nice throws, but I went back and watched. The stat line did not really match the film to me. It was kind of him chucking it up to Devontae Adams and hoping for the best. And he had a lot of throws into double coverage that were knocked down and really risky. But we'll see what happens. The fact of the matter, regardless of how good or bad or even unknowledgeable someone is on Jarrett Stidham. The reality is he has not taken a live game rep since the 2023 season. And I think that's going to play a factor. As easy as Sean Payton tries to make it for him, this Patriots defense is hot. I think they're going to disguise a ton. I think they're going to blitz the hell out of him until he shows that he can like counter it. And the Broncos are going to have to get their running game going, which I'm not sure that they can, even with J.K. Dobbins coming back. The way that this Patriots run defense has been when Milton Williams and Robert Spillane have been in there. I have a fun fact for you guys. The Patriots are undefeated in games that Christian Gonzalez and Milton Williams both play, and I expect that to continue this week. I think that, like I mentioned, the Broncos defense, I think, is getting a little bit more of a rep than they should as like a great defense. I think they're solid, but I think in terms of the way that everybody has played over the last 8, 9 weeks, this is the I don't want to say worst because it makes it sound like I'm calling them bad. I'm not calling them bad. I think this is the worst of the three that the Patriots will have faced in these 3 rounds. The Chargers were playing great defensive football with Jesse Minter. Obviously, the Texans are a top 2 defense in the NFL, but the Broncos have been pretty lackluster. I mean, we even saw Marcus Mariota put up 27 or whatever it was on them not too long ago. So I feel good about it. If the Patriots lose this game, I believe it'll be more of just like the Patriots shooting themselves in the foot. Like if they turn the ball over 4 times or whatever it was, like last week, 3 times, they'll probably lose the game because the Broncos are a disciplined team that doesn't turn it over much. And I think Stidham could do enough in short fields, maybe. But if the Patriots play even a B level game, I think that they'll win this game. And if they play the way that they did in the regular season, I think they'll win this game. No problem. And I've got the Patriots 27-17 in this one.
Yeah, I think when I look at this matchup, the interesting part for me, like, Bo Nix being out as the headline of the game, heading into this one, and Jarrett Stidham making his first start in a few seasons. That's the massive part of the game, right? It's so hard to pick the Denver Broncos in this one because of that quarterback change, but I do think these teams will match up very well. I mean, we talk about Denver's pass rush, most sacks in the NFL this season. Yes, they've struggled a little bit consistency wise through the air in that intermediate part of the field over the last few weeks defensively, but they have a pass rush that will probably exploit New England's offensive line and what they've been doing throughout this year. We saw it last week against Houston. We weren't wrong there. The turnovers for Drake May and the fumbles, that was a real thing. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he puts it on the ground again in this one with how he's looked through 2 games. I do think that they're once again going to get a lot of man coverage. Pat Surtain is going to be manned up. They're going to get Riley Moss manned up. And you know what New England is going to do? They're going to continue to test those one-on-one matchups. And New England has won those matchups in almost every single game they played. I wonder if Denver wins in those situations because they are probably more talented than New England there. I think Stephon Diggs would be a key X factor over the intermediate part of the field, making some more catches there. That'll be a big matchup to watch. And I think if Denver does win those one-on-one matchups on third down on the outside, I think that'll be a key to the game if they do want to win this ball game. On the flip side of things, New England's defense, when Milton Williams has been healthy, is a different animal. I understand that Justin Herbert had no offensive line in front of him and played a horrible game. I understand that C.J. Stroud was, I'm just going to be nice here, the worst quarterback performance of the year that I've seen in one half.
That's nice.
That's nice. That's nice. But like, this defense is a legit defense. They have done a great job in the postseason. When Wilton Williams, I can't even talk.
That boy Wilton Williams, baby, let's get it.
Has been healthy this year. This defense has been a good defense. They'll struggle through the air at times, but their run defense is consistently elite. And this Denver team, who has a backup quarterback playing for them, you're going to need a ground game to mix up in order to, just get this guy going. And Sean Payton's going to do everything he can to get him going. I mean, he does it with Bo Nix already. A ton of RPOs, a ton of plays designed for players to set them up with yak. And I don't know if the down the field shots, which Bo Nix has hit over the last few weeks in the entire season that have been big throws for Nix, will be there for Stidham. But Peyton's going to do everything he can to expand this New England defense and give their receivers a position to make a play or their running backs in space to make a play. I'm not sure if Stidham is going to be good enough to win this ball game, but once again, I expect it to be kind of a sloppy overall game, and New England finds a way to get it done. I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring than you think, Brady. I'm expecting a 23-17 game, and New England should be moving on to the Super Bowl, and it'll be another one of those games where Drake May doesn't have a gaudy performance, and I would love to see a potential MVP battle in the Super Bowl to kind of showcase who might be the better guy overall, despite what the voters say. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, this is a fascinating game. I think the Broncos are going to keep it close. One thing I learned about Stidham with his time in Las Vegas is he's real competitive, dude. He's going to bring his A game. He's going to fight to the very end. I know he's 1-3 as a starter. His numbers don't look great, but I think he's going to show up, and I think the Broncos are going to perform. I think it's going to be a real close game. I think I'll go through my points real quick. You guys brought up some great points, but Stidham, a backup quarterback, one of the highest paid backups in the league, to help them out. Can Denver run the ball? This postseason, they're ranked last among the teams remaining. Against Buffalo, they only average 3.2 yards per carry. That's not very good against Buffalo, who has a weak run defense. They're going up against New England, who's got the best run defense in the postseason. In 2 games, they only allowed 67.5 yards on the ground per game, 3.1 yards per carry. That's the best in the playoffs. So it's going to be an uphill battle for them. And if they can't run the ball, I'm going to give the Patriots the advantage. On the flip side, New England's offense, can they protect Drake May? That's the main story for me. The Patriots have allowed 10 sacks, 21 quarterback pressures in the playoffs in 2 games. And we know Denver, man, they sacked Josh Allen 3 times. It could have been more, man. Josh Allen made a lot of plays with his legs. But in the regular season, Denver Broncos, 68 sacks, 285 quarterback pressures. That's both first in the NFL. So those are my 2 question marks. Let's see if those teams can answer them. But I think the thing with me, and Brady brought it up, how Denver's defense has been struggling, is they blitz a lot, and they leave guys on islands, and when you kind of, if you're not sticky with them, they're gonna that's how you get big plays. Cover one. It's high risk, high reward defense. Denver's fifth highest blitz rate in the NFL. I wouldn't do that against Drake May. Drake May versus the blitz, according to Next Gen Stats, 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think this is where the Patriots pull away in this game. So I got the Patriots, man. I think they're the better team overall. They're 8-0 on the road this season. I like the Patriots to advance.
Yeah,
Right.
Dan, just to touch on your point, I think like as much as Will Campbell is really the factor to me. That is the one thing that scares me. I feel like the rest of the O line has played well enough for New England to not be too scared. But Will Campbell against Benito is what scares me. But when it comes to like Morgan Moses, right? He's been phenomenal. Mike Onwenu has been phenomenal. Garrett Bradbury has been phenomenal. But you look at, like you said, Drake May has been great against the blitz. Drake May has the number 1 EPA per play among all quarterbacks against the blitz, and I believe he's number 2 in EPA per play against pressure in general. So for what might be a weakness for some of the other quarterbacks that remain standing, like really all three, Stidham, Stafford, and Darnold, guys that are less mobile, it's not even
Mhm.
really a thing of Drake's mobility. It's that he knows where to find these guys. Him and these receivers are on the same page. So I agree that like blitzing Drake May is not the strategy I think Denver's going to want to go with, but feel free to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
good
see
luck.
what happens. We'll see if Stidham can pull off the upset of the year this next weekend at home.
I'm just
Heading
ready
to
to
the
see
next
all
game.
these Jarrett Stidham profile pictures vanish into the
Jarrett
wind.
Stidham is the Nick Foles. That's the rumors. That's the
Uh,
rumors
That,
going
that's
around.
that's the cope they're going with. So
All right, Rams versus Seahawks. This is the game of the year for me personally. This is the one I'm more excited for. I know Brady's got stake in the first one, but this
and
is
no,
this is
this
this
is the
is the
better
game.
matchup.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the game.
I
Rams
mean we
versus
get
Seahawks. Brady, tell me what's going to go down.
we get part three. We had 21-19 in LA, but then we had the thriller on Thursday Night Football that really decided home field in this game, with Seattle winning on a 2-point conversion, 38-37, after storming back from what, like 20 down in the
Yeah,
second half or something like that. And I just look at these two teams, and the Rams. the Rams have more talent on their team, at least on the offensive side of the ball, right? We've talked about the talent kind of as the deciding factor the last 2 weeks, especially against the Panthers, but against the Bears last week. You've got Puka Nakua, who is an Offensive Player of the Year finalist. I know Seattle has one of those as well. You've got Devontae Adams, who really has kind of been a no-show the first 2 games. You got Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams. You got Sean McVay at the helm. But these teams seem to be going in different trajectories. The last 4 games for these two teams. The Seahawks are 4-0 with an average margin of 30-14. And the Rams are 3-1 with a margin of 29-25. The Rams have kind of been squeaking it out. They had the tight game against Carolina. They had the overtime win in Chicago last week, and they've been road warriors the last couple of weeks. But they had the loss in Atlanta. They had this loss to Seattle. They've not played great at all over the last month and a half, and it feels like offensively they've started to kind of be in a sludge. And I went back and watched some of the film and felt like Mike McDonald, maybe because he knew he was going to see this team again more than likely, was a little bit conservative and vanilla early on the last time these two teams played. Even the first time they played in LA, it's not like Mike McDonald threw the kitchen sink at Sean McVay, but like they were getting consistent pressure. The Rams were not running as much 13 personnel in that game, and they weren't great in short yardage situations. Second time around, the Seahawks didn't really buckle in until the end. They had Josh Jobe on Puka Nakua. I kind of expect that to change in this one. I think we should see some more Devin Witherspoon on Nakua. But as much as I love the Rams and as much as I've had the Rams penciled in as my team going to the Super Bowl for probably the last 8 or 9 weeks. I mean,
Don't jump
pre-playoffs, that was
ship.
my
Don't do
that
it.
was
Don't do it.
I'm jumping ship, man. The 12s were rocking last week. I don't even think Sam Darnold has to do that much, but he might be able to against this defense the way that they have been playing. I know they stepped up a little bit against Chicago last week, but the main thing is I think that Matthew Stafford has struggled mightily against pressure these first 2 rounds against subpar pass rush units. This is one of, if not the best pass rushing unit in the NFL, one of the top tier pass rush units without even, I don't even think they're going to have to really blitz to heat Matthew Stafford up the way they've been playing. But if they do blitz him, I think it's going to be a lot of trouble. I think if the Rams get behind early and let this crowd get louder and louder, it's only going to get tougher. Both these teams are great. I know a lot of people are calling this the real Super Bowl. I don't know if I buy into that, but if they play Denver, it is. But I mean, I just it's tough, but I'm going with Seattle by just a couple of points. I think it's going to be a little bit more high scoring than people might expect, but I'm going with Seattle 28-23 in this one at Lumen Field. I think it's going to be what Dan has been calling for weeks and weeks, a rematch of Super Bowl 49 between the Patriots and the Seahawks in Santa Clara.
Listen, the Seahawks are a great football team. They are dominant on both sides of the ball, and clearly they are not letting up, and they're playing their best football at the best time. They have home field advantage. Everything is working in their favor right now for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think this team has been tested the last few weeks, and I think that might come into play a little bit just because the Los Angeles Rams have been in these one-score games. They've found gritty ways to win, and they've just won ugly, right? They had to travel across the entire country to go play a road
Hey,
game.
can I stop you real quick on that? Can
Hold
I?
up, hold up.
I was just gonna say the one score games. Seattle is 6-3 in those. The Rams are only 6-5 in one score games.
Yeah, but as of late, which team has found ways to win in those one-score games in the postseason?
No,
right
that's true.
now
That's true.
versus
I'll
a
let you
team
keep
that
going, but I
hasn't
just
been
wanted to
there?
point out Seattle has been good in those, has been better in those situations. But I get
Yeah.
your point. I'm gonna let you keep going.
Yeah, I'm saying as of recent memory, right, this Los Angeles Rams team has kind of been battle tested. They're not playing good football. They absolutely collapsed in the second half against Seattle in what was a game they were dominating for 3 quarters where it wasn't really a close game at all. And the first time these two teams matched up, they picked off Sam Darnold 4 times, right? They traveled across the country to Carolina. They played horrible, right? A lot of teams that travel across the country, they play horrible, even if the Panthers are 8-9 and we're all writing them off like that. They travel to Chicago in a outdoor stadium in 15-degree weather. Their defense steps up. They find a way to win. Their offense looks horrible. But once again, Matthew Stafford, game-winning drive in overtime, they find a way to win. Now they're going to go to Seattle, a place where their season changed a few weeks ago with a really bad fourth quarter, misplays on third and fourth and short. They had special team screw ups, and Seattle found a way to win that game, which they had
That's the
no
thing.
business winning. No business winning. And these two teams, it feels like Brady mentioned, two different directions since that moment. I think the Los Angeles Rams are going to take this one a little bit personally. I think that they felt like the division, the one seed, it slipped out of their hands, and they have dominated the Seahawks team for probably 6 of the 8 quarters they have played them this year. And the Seahawks have had 2 good quarters, and that's about it against this team the entire year. Seattle's a great football team, but what Sean McVay's done to, McDonald this year, and I know Brady, you mentioned he keeps it a little vanilla against him. I mean, that game is for the one seed. That game is for the division, right? They're not going out there, and I know he's probably going to have some different stuff in his bag this week, but he's going out there to win that game. And Sean McVay had his number. It was his worst performance as the Seahawks head coach on the defensive side of the ball.
Hey, did you
And
see
they were able to
the
move the ball effectively.
did you see the video that the Seahawks posted like 2 days ago?
What was it?
It was like so it was the first. This honestly had a lot to do with my prediction. I was kind of leaning Rams when
Oh,
I saw
boy.
this video, but no, I'm just kidding, kind of. But it was the first team meeting that Mike McDonald ever held, and I don't. This dude got me juiced. This is just a sidebar here as you wrap up, but he was like, "I want you guys to picture this. Like, it's late January. It's the NFC Championship. 30-something degrees, cold and rainy. Shitty for them." It's perfect for us. Like they know what they signed up for. Like we're coming through. Like we're physical, and it got me juiced. It got me ready to go hit Puka. And like I don't know, man. This team just has like a swagger about them. Mike McDonald has a swagger. I wanted to glaze Mike McDonald for a second. I'm sorry.
Great coach. Ravens messed up letting him go. Hopefully Jesse Minter can fill those shoes
Yeah, they
because
made up for it.
they screwed that one up a little bit. But anyways, the Los Angeles Rams are the better football team than the Seattle Seahawks, and it is going to show this week. They are going to find ways to win because their receivers are better, and they continue to find ways to move the ball with Kyron Williams against the Seahawks, and the Seahawks' run defense has been really good. If you guys notice in those first 2 matchups, the Rams' run game was just as efficient as it always is against that Seahawks defense that has been dominant against the ground this year. Brady, you mentioned the one thing I'm worried about is that Seahawks pass rush against the Rams' pretty bad pass blocking offensive line. They're going to have to find ways to negate that, and they did it pretty well for a majority of those 2 games. We'll see if that holds. And then the other side of the ball, I know Sam Darnold finally got the job done and, beat the ghosts of the Los Angeles Rams, but he's played horrible football against this team for a majority of the season. And even in that first half of the game they won, oh my goodness, it was bad. He can't do that in the postseason. The Los Angeles Rams can't go away from my pick. They're going to beat the Seahawks, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by it because the Seahawks, it feels like, are in cruise control in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, as a Patriots fan, that I'd rather play the Rams if we win. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. The Seahawks match up great with every team, I think, besides the Rams.
Yeah, that defense is just as scary as Houston. But Dan, you go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is another fascinating game. The thing I worry about Seattle is their injuries. Their starting left tackle hasn't practiced, Charles Cross, so I worry about that. Obviously, Sam Darnold's dealing with an oblique injury. I know Ryan played baseball. I don't know if Brady played baseball, but like oblique.
Oh yeah, I
suck.
played a little bit of baseball.
Yeah, so I mean that sucks. It's like you can do anything. You can twist the wrong way, and you're done. So that does worry me, the injuries. But this team's talented, and I think Ryan brought up a good point about Sam Darnold. I got the stat here in 2 games versus the Rams this season. He's thrown 6 interceptions. He's got to take care of the ball, man. There's no 2 ways about it. He's only thrown 2 touchdown passes in those 2 games. But I just like Seattle in this game, man. Seattle has won 8 straight games. Their defense is on fire. And defense wins championships. Here's a perfect example. The Seattle defense has allowed under 20 points in 6 of those last 8 games. You take out the average points allowed in those 8 games during the win streak. They're only giving up 13 points per game. It's insane to think about. I love this stat in the Super Bowl era, in Super Bowl games and conference championship games. The number 1 scoring defense, which is Seattle in this case, they are historically 8-1 versus the number 1 scoring offense. So I've been harping on it all season. Defense wins championship. This is going to be a perfect example. why I always believe this. It's a tough place to play. I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but Seattle's so talented on that side. They can score with their punt, with their special teams. They can score on defense. I've seen them do it all year. And Seattle's 7-2 at home. The Rams, for some reason, they always struggle on the road. They're 6-4. I think eventually catches up to them in this game. So I got the Seattle Seahawks advancing to the Super Bowl.
100%. Listen, I think who knows? Me and Brady could be in an interesting spot from this point.
Yeah.
If
True. If the
we are
Rams
all
pull it
tied up
out,
in our standings right now, and we're going Rams Seahawks, one of us will get a 1-game advantage. And I know for sure if I'm behind one game, he's picking the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So
I'm probably picking
be
them
able to time it.
regardless, and we'll see.
Oh, hey, they got to get there. They got to get there.
You got to either pick your team or beating me for pride. You're gonna have to choose. You're gonna have to choose.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens, but it should be a great game. Conference championships. You can take your nap, around halftime of the Patriots Broncos, and then gear up for
Let's hope.
championship game. But ultimately, playoff football. Going to be
if the Pats.
stuff.
If the Pats take a 10-digit, if the Pats take a 10-point lead at any point, it's over. That's my take.
That is the take. All right. Drop your comments down below. If your take matches Brady's or any other hot takes you guys have, hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content. Me, Dan, and Brady. We'll catch y'all next time.